I sat on my bed sort of thinking, what have I done? Is this really what I want? I wasn't really sure. I sat there on the edge of my bed for a while, I don't know, maybe a minute, just thinking, what have I done? Is this really what I want? Over and over again. I went downstairs and said to my parents that I'd just taken an overdose. I took a load of pills and they, just like freaked out, and my mother was screaming at me and my dad phoned the ambulance, and I remember him being really sarcastic with the people on the phone. He was saying, my daughter thinks she's smart, she thinks she's so clever, she's just done this to herself, I don't know what she's trying to achieve. That made me rage. I shook with anger. The whole thing was so condescending. I was only 16, so I had to go on the children's ward. I remember thinking I had done this really grown-up adult thing, possibly the most serious thing you can do in your life, and I was put on the children's ward, which had little Winnie-the-Poohs all over the wall. I felt so patronised over the whole thing. I think it was a cry for help rather than a genuine attempt, otherwise I wouldn't have told my parents. I so could have gotten away with it because, as far as they were concerned, I had just gone upstairs to bed and they wouldn't have noticed until the morning. In hospital, I was also diagnosed with anorexia. Being in hospital was one of the worst experiences ever. They had me sedated and fed me peanut butter and full-fat cream through a tube in my nose to my stomach. It was crunchy peanut butter to boot. I was coughing up nuts for days. Really, I think my experience began around aged 11 or 12. It was anxiety due to the fear of death, as my great-granddad died. He was 94, but to my young mind, he seemed as fit as a fiddle. I felt sad. It was more than sad. Now, of course, I know it was depression. At 13, I began occasionally self-harming and controlling my eating. During the day, I would have school lunch, then I used to make myself sick. My friend Sam, she would keep watch for the dinner lady, especially Mrs. Thompson, who looked like the evil Ursula out of Disney's The Little Mermaid. So Sam kept a lookout, revolting thing that she was. Mrs. Thompson, not Sam. I was frightened about being caught because then I'd have to deal with my issues.